Hola, welcome to the Drop Dead Sisters podcast. My name is Francesca.
And my name is Ninoshka. And today we will be discussing the case of the Petit family murders, mostly known as the Cheshire murders. A horrible robbery gone wrong that happened in 2007, and it's one of the cases that will haunt our lives forever.
Oh, yeah, this case will definitely haunt our lives and your lives once you hear this horrible story. But before we jump into our episode, we want to thank all of our supporters and all of you who always take the time to listen to our episodes. And we know that we still sound like if we were inside of a fish tank, dentro de una lata de galleta. But please bear with us while we figure out our audio, okay? We will we make these episodes with lots of love and enthusiasm. So in the meantime, we hope that you guys continue to enjoy our episodes and just like a baby, watch us grow.
Little by little. And now, let's jump right into today's episode.
The Petit family consisted in William Petit, who was an endocrinologist, his wife Jennifer Hawk Petit, who was a nurse and the co-director of the health center at the Cheshire Academy. Jennifer had also been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which is a disease that disrupts the ability of parts of the nervous system to communicate. So yeah, she was diagnosed with that. They had two daughters. Their oldest daughter was Haley Petit, who was 17 years old, and she had just graduated from Miss Porter's school. She was also involved with fundraising for the condition that Miss Petit had, which was multiple sclerosis. Their youngest daughter was Michaela Petit. She was 11 years old, and she attended the Chase Collegiate School, and it said that she loved to cook.
Jennifer and William met in 1985. In 1987, they purchased a home in Cheshire, Connecticut, in a quiet neighborhood. This was an upper-class town. On Sunday, July 22nd, William, Jennifer, and their 11-year-old Michaela attended the 9:30 a.m. church service. Their oldest daughter, 17-year-old Haley, did not attend the service since she had been out with her friends that weekend. After church, William, Jennifer, and Michaela arrived home, and Haley arrived as well. It stated that William went out to play golf with his father, and Jennifer and the girls went to the beach.
When they were on their way back from the beach, Jennifer called William and told him that they had stopped in their local store to buy a few things for a pre-birthday meal that Michaela, their 11-year-old daughter, had planned for Jennifer since she loved to cook, and it seems like Jennifer's birthday was coming up. Later that night, after dinner, William went to the house's sunroom to read the newspaper, and it stated that 11-year-old Michaela and Jennifer, which was the mom, read a book, and then all the girls went to bed approximately at 11 p.m. that night. And William had fallen asleep in the sunroom.
It was about 2 to 3 in the morning when William was struck in the head with a baseball bat with all the force a human can hit. That was crazy. William was disoriented, obviously, since he was literally asleep and was woken by a hard struck in the head. And it said that he saw two men, and one of the men had a gun pointing right at him. These men were Stephen Hayes and Joshua Komisarjevsky.
Whoa, Komisarjevsky. That's a very hard
last name.
Yeah.
They then tied up William with zip ties and also a rope. They tied up his hands, his ankles, and they put cloth on his head.
They put a cloth on around his head.
Cloth.
Yeah, just to block, I'm guessing, him from seeing anything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They told William that they were only there for the money. William told the guys that they did not have a safe in the house. William couldn't see anything since he had the cloth around his head, but he said that he heard the men walk outside the room and heard when one of the men told the other, if he moves, put a bullet in his head or 2 bullets in his
Yeah,
head.
I think he heard that one of the men said either 1 or 2 bullets. He just heard that if he moved, he was going to have a bullet put in his head, which is pretty scary at this point. William could hear one of the men going upstairs, and it said that the guy found Jennifer and Michaela, who were sleeping together in the master bedroom, and they told them that they were just there for the money. And they took Michaela out of the master bedroom, in which she was sleeping with her mom, Jennifer, and took her to her own bedroom. It said that the men tied each one of the girls to their own beds by their wrists and ankles, and they also put pillowcases over their heads. William said that he could hear the men walking around the house as if they were searching for valuables. The men went to William. They untied the zip ties and ropes that were around his ankles, and they dragged him to the basement, where they then tied him up against a post in their unfinished basement. It seems like the Petit's family basement was not finished, and they just basically put him there in a pole that was there. So at this point, William was still tied up with both of his hands, both of his ankles. He had a cloth around his severely beaten head. And oddly, listen to this, the man put cushion under William so that, he was comfy when he was sitting down there in the basement.
That's
on the pole.
weird.
Isn't that weird?
Because they hurt him, but then they want him to be comfortable.
I don't know if that was their intention, but I mean, hello, you put him around a pole, all tied up, and you put cushions in his butt. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, these are animals anyway. William said that he could hear the men searching around the home, and he tried moving up and down the pole where he was tied against just to try to untie himself. He said that he could hear the men emptying a change jar that they had at their house, and it seems like the man also searched Jennifer and his wallet, but there was no cash at all on them. And it seems like when they checked Haley's wallet, there were about $100 in cash and a few gift cards that she had received as graduation presents.
It said that the men found the Petit's checkbook, which stated that they had about $30,000, 30,000 or so, and William said that the men were talking to Jennifer in the kitchen about going to the bank to withdraw $15,000 cash. The bank opened at 9 in the morning. This man planned that one of them would take Jennifer to the bank to withdraw money, and that the other would stay at the Petit's house to basically let Jennifer know that if she tried to do something stupid in the bank and report them, that they would kill her daughters and her husband, obviously. That was the way of keep it safe, basically. The men had Jennifer call James' nurse and assistant to leave a message excusing William and canceling all his appointments that day, saying he wasn't feeling well. The men didn't want anyone suspecting that anything was going on. It seems like all this happened a little after 5 in the morning, since William stated that he heard birds. So it must have been early in the morning,
Yeah, this man had Jennifer call William's assistant and also his nurse. And this was very out of the usual for William. It seems like he was very responsible, and he never just randomly canceled any of his appointments. So when William heard that these guys had Jennifer call these people, he thought that this was probably going to be of help, because they would probably notice that this was out of character for William, and maybe someone would come to save them. I mean, in the situation that he's on right now, beat up, tied up, he's helpless. He cannot help himself or his family, which is horrible. At this point, you're going to begin to think that anybody outside who knows about what's going on may be able to help or to catch that something's going on.
Exactly. That's kind of what he was expecting, and it's true. When you have that profession, basically, it's going to be hard to cancel your whole day.
Yeah, and he was out of character, so he thought that maybe this could have been helpful. But just let me proceed and tell you guys a little more of the story, and you guys are going to see how it all went down. So shortly after, probably after 5 a.m., based on William hearing, some birds outside. It was probably like already like 5 in the morning. It seems like the man took some empty detergent containers from the Petit's house, and then one of the perpetrators, Stephen, went to the gas station and filled out the container with $10 cash. When he returned to the house, William heard as one of the men left the house with Jennifer to head to the bank while the other one stayed. So basically, Joshua stayed at the house with William and the two daughters, while Stephen Hayes took Miss Petit to the Bank of America to withdraw the $15,000. When they arrived to the bank, Jennifer entered the bank alone. Stephen stood in the car. There's a surveillance video of Jennifer's visit to the bank that day. And if you guys take a look at that video, if you guys go to YouTube to search for that video, you will notice that she seemed very calm, given the fact that all this crazy shit is going on at her house right now. And it's super crazy to know what happens after this. It's just horrible. But anyways, moving on, Jennifer made the line just like a regular customer. And when it was her turn, she told the bank teller that she needed to withdraw $50,000 cash. Of course, she was asked for her ID because, of course, she's going to withdraw, like thousands of dollars. She needs to, of course, provide with her ID. And she did not have her ID with her because this man had taken her wallet. So Jennifer tells the bank teller that she did not have her ID and very calmly told her that she needed to withdraw that money because her family was being held hostage. And if she didn't give them the money, they would kill them all. So the bank teller, I'm guessing she freaked out and she called up the bank manager. When the bank manager approaches Jennifer in the counter, Jennifer explains the situation and also shows the manager a picture she had of her two daughters. And that's just so heartbreaking, I swear. Like, I don't even imagine what that woman must have had in her head. Like that, that's just crazy. So basically, at this point, let's say that, you are the bank manager. You wouldn't know whether this is true or it's a lie. They're trying to withdraw this amount of money, $15,000, and they're telling you that their family is being held hostage. So you wouldn't know if they're telling the truth, that this is un caso de vida y muerte, like this is a case that's actually shit that's going down, or if maybe someone's just trying to lie to get this amount of money. So the bank manager approved the withdrawal. So while the teller is processing the transaction, the manager went to call 911. And we're going to play you guys a clip of that 911 call.
We have a lady who is in our bank right now who says that her husband and children are being held at their house. The people are in a car outside the bank. She is getting $15,000 to bring out to them that if the police are told, they will kill the children and the husband. They have their faces covered. She is petrified.
And that was the clip of the 911 call that took place, and it's crazy. Just because of all that's about to go down at the Petit's house, unfortunately. Jennifer was given the money, and the same way she walked in, calmed, she walked out. That was the last time Jennifer was seen alive.
Yeah, and we say calm, and that's just an understatement. This woman, I swear, she looked very calm. You guys definitely need to check out that video, but it's crazy how she was able to, keep composure of herself.
Yeah, because
in a situation like this. It's just crazy.
She already knows what's going to happen if she does
for
anything,
her daughters, girl.
The Cheshire Police Department sent out several police vehicles to block the incoming and outgoing traffic surrounding the Petit's house. The police also noticed that the van that was seen at the bank was now in the Petit's house driveway. So the police kind of knew that Jennifer had arrived to the house, and there wasn't any activity that could be visible from outside the house, and all the lights were off.
Around 10 a.m., William recalls hearing something being poured all over the floor of the house. And William said that he yelled, and that one of the men yelled back at him, saying not to worry, that it will all be over soon. At this point, William thought that the man will shoot all of them and just leave with the money and just leave them there dead. He didn't have any hope. I mean, after all that he knew that had happened, I mean, which hope are you going to have? You know what I mean? Yeah. William was able to break the zip ties after trying for hours, up and down. It said that there was like blood behind him because, he tried to take those zip ties off. It said that those zip ties were tied so tight. He was able to take the zip ties off his wrists, but not out of his ankles. So he literally, as hard as he could, he made his way out of the house, crawling out through the cellar's door, and he went into his neighbor's house. It said that William pounded at his neighbor's garage door, and finally Dave, which was his neighbor, opened. Dave didn't know that that was William. I mean, William was so beat up, he was almost unrecognizable. One of the police officers that was surrounding the perimeter of the house saw William on the floor and the neighbor, and I'm guessing that the cop probably thought that William was one of the perpetrators, and the police ordered for him to stay in the ground. And William, it said that he just kept saying, "It's me, William, the girls." Like, that's just so heartbreaking. Like, this man, like, at this point he was able to escape. The only thing that he has in his mind, because he cannot do it on himself, is to have the police go and save his wife and his 2 daughters, the girls. That's just so heartbreaking to me. I
wouldn't say anything about the police thinking that he's the perpetrator, because basically he doesn't know how he looks like.
Yeah, they don't know.
Even though he's very beaten up, you would think that the police would think that that's a victim, but whatever.
Well, they don't know, because he can be a perpetrator. Maybe one of the victims fuck him up. You know what I mean?
He can barely walk.
So, so they don't know. And he was tied. To be honest, he was tied in his ankle. So. Yeah.
Well, whatever. Right after this, the officer received a call in the radio that said that there was an individual coming out of the house with a bag, which was Steven, and that he got in the family van. Then Joshua came out and got in the van in the passenger seat. They literally tried to flee the scene without knowing that the police had all the roads blocked, so they wouldn't be able to leave. Stephen literally reversed the family van out of the Petit's home driveway as fast as he could. He accidentally crashed into a police vehicle. So stupid. But he still kept driving down the road, again trying to fucking escape. Like, really, dude?
So stupid.
Right down the road, they slammed the van into 2 police cars that were blocking traffic. Like I said, they're dumbasses. And obviously, then they were arrested right then and there.
Yep. Like, yeah, this dude, like, backed the fuck out of that van in the driveway, thinking that they could escape. Boom. They crash into a police car in reverse, and then when he hits drive, he still crashes into 2 police cars. Like, are you kidding me?
They're fucking idiots.
They should be in this show, World's Dumbest. Have you seen that one? World's Dumbest Criminals? That would be hilarious, because I swear they're the fucking dumbest. But anyway, while all this escape shit is happening outside the Petit's house and the perpetrators were trying to fucking escape, the house was already burning in flames. So what these guys had poured all over the floor was gasoline. The gasoline that they had bought earlier that day. And yeah, the house was now in flames, and the fire was not a small fire. The fire was huge. And unfortunately, Jennifer, Haley, and Michaela were now gone. There's like no way, that they would have survived this huge fire.
It's freaking crazy. It's not enough with everything that they have done, but now they freaking burned them inside.
And that happened literally instantly. While they were fleeing the house that they were trying to escape, the house was already on fire. So they literally probably like lit the house, and that's why he backed up so quick to try to escape. William then was taken to the hospital, and he was so severely beaten that he lost about 7 pints of blood. Like, that's how bad it was.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And well, a few days later, a memorial was held and over 4,000 people attended. This had been a horrendous tragedy that this town had never seen happen before.
I bet. I mean, you don't see that every day. these people, I don't know how can they just wake up one day and decide to do such horrendous things.
I mean, it's basically they intended, everything they said from the very beginning was, we're just here for the money. But what really happened here? We will let you guys know what really happened here so that you guys know exactly why it all went down the way it went down.
Well, it all began during Jennifer and Michaela's trip to the grocery store. This is when Michaela attracted the attention of Joshua Komisarjevsky. Joshua was basically checking out an 11-year-old girl. Isn't this disgusting?
He was checking out Michaela, who was 11 years old, when she was with her mom, Jennifer, at the grocery store. He was, like, attracted to her. That's nasty.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
So Joshua decided to follow Jennifer and Michaela home, and when he saw the house, he then decided that this would be a good house to rob. Joshua contacted Stephen, and they planned to break into the Petit's home that same night. These two monsters, Joshua and Stephen, met in a halfway house, and they were career criminals for most of their adult life. And it said that they had issues with drugs and alcohol and had committed lots of petty crimes. So this is what they did for a living.
They were criminals.
It's ridiculous. Waste of space. Joshua was a pro at breaking into homes, and he had been arrested multiple times for this before. Joshua also had a rough childhood. He was adopted, and his biological parents had a history of mental illness. And like I've said before, mental illness is definitely not a joke. He was then adopted, and his foster parents took in another 15-year-old foster kid, and he would molest Joshua since he was 4 years old.
That's horrible.
That's sad. And it said that Joshua also molested another foster little sister he had when she was little too. So he was already fucked up from the beginning. Mm-hmm. The day they broke into the Petit's home, it said that they had broken into other homes before. Before they went to rob the Petit's house, it said that they went out a bar to have a few drinks, and I'm guessing to probably plan the attack.
They went out to a bar, to have a few drinks. Yeah, what you think,
and to know how
let's
do
rob a house.
This stupid shit. You gotta be kidding me. Well, according to Stephen Hayes, they only planned to rob the Petit's house and bound the family members, leaving them unharmed. Only, like we have said, only to go for the money.
Yep.
You know?
So basically, they broke into the Petit's house through the cellar door. Once they were in the house, that's when they found William, who had fallen asleep in the sunroom. That's when they struck William in the head, and they began to bound the other family members, like we mentioned at the beginning. After Stephen and Jennifer had returned from the bank, Joshua, which is the guy that stood in the house while Stephen took Jennifer to the bank, notified Stephen that he had sexually assaulted 11-year-old Michaela in her room while she was tied up. This asshole, Joshua, he took pornographic pictures of Michaela during the event, including, you know, one of the pictures also included his disgusting dick. That it's just like crazy. All of this was basically discussed on trial, but he literally assaulted the 11-year-old Michaela, and he took pictures during the event. And unfortunately, I know this is a little graphic, but it happened, and it's important for you guys to know the gravity of the case. He also sodomized Michaela, which is horrible.
That's a nasty piece of shit.
Yep. Well, and again, you know, it all comes back to psychology. Joshua had been molested ever since he was 4 years old, you know, and I'm not defending him because he's still a piece of shit, but that's how you know that whatever you go through when you're little, all those little traumas, they make you who you are as an adult if you allow them to get to you. You know what I mean? If you don't get the proper therapy, better said. So basically, Stephen said that when Joshua told him that he had raped Michaela, that it provoked him into raping Jennifer in the living room floor. Like, what the fuck? Provoked him? Like, he did it because just as Joshua, he is a disgusting piece of shit. Like, you're not going to be influenced by somebody raping another woman and you're just going to decide to rape another woman. That doesn't make any sense.
That is bullshit.
Yep. It said that while Stephen was raping Jennifer in the living room floor, that Joshua entered the living room and advised him that Mr. Petit had escaped. That's when Stephen decided to strangle Jennifer right then and there, since they did not want to leave any evidence behind when they left. And that's when they also decided to pour the gasoline and burn the house. So, yeah, they even poured gasoline on top of the girls' bodies. Like, they literally intended to burn the fuck out of them. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, they were making sure to just kill them.
Yep, and then that's when they made their great stupid ass escape, because that's the word of it. It was a stupid ass escape. They didn't even escape.
They were so focused on doing whatever disgusting shit they were doing that they didn't even notice that they were surrounded by cops.
Nope, they didn't notice anything that was going on around their little criminal world. But unfortunately, both Michaela and Haley died of smoke inhalation. We know that Jennifer was strangled, so she was dead before the fire. This home invasion lasted about 7 hours, but I felt like that shit felt like an eternity to these poor people, I swear.
That was a nightmare.
Oh my God. And, well, when these two assholes were caught down the Petit's family house road, they both had a strong smell of gasoline. Like, they smelled like gas. It's like, dude, we know it's you. We know it's you.
If he didn't know how to run, he would definitely burn with them. Because he was full of gas, too.
Yep.
Fucking idiots. Mm-hmm. Well, in their confessions, they began to turn on each other, which was really stupid. They even tried to say that William was an accomplice. Like, damn, that's low.
That's low. That's low.
People thought that it might have been true since he was the only survivor, but we all know it's not that way. They're just pieces of shit trying to cover their asses. On December 2nd of 2010, Stephen Hayes was formally imposed with 6 death sentences plus 106 years.
Yep.
He apologized for the pain and suffering he had caused the Petit family and added that death for him, and I quote, death for him would be a welcome relief, and that he hoped it would bring some peace and comfort to those who he had hurt so much. Which is really stupid. Sorry.
Stupid.
He was set to be executed on May 27th of 2011, but his death sentence became a life sentence in August 2015 when the state abolished the death penalty. So
he was saved there. I don't even know if that's a saving, because
not saving.
It said
it's
that
good that
William
he's wasting his whole time there.
Yeah, it said that William wanted the death penalty for them. That's why he said that, if he was sentenced with the death penalty, he would welcome that. But, well, I hope that sometimes I feel like if you're taken out, that easy, like the death penalty, I'm like, no, make them suffer. Let them suffer in prison for the rest of their lives, for real. That's how I see it.
Me too.
Yep. So Joshua was found guilty on October 13th of 2011. In court, they discussed some of his journals in which he described that breaking into houses was his extreme sport. So he considered breaking into houses his extreme sport. Like, what?
He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew it was wrong, but he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, it was a sport for him. And he also had written down, he had some journals, and when they reviewed this in court, he had wrote down that William was a coward. That Mr. Petit was a coward, and that he could have stopped the murders if he wanted to, or if he tried to. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, they had struck Mr. Petit in the head with a baseball bat super hard. He was super fucked up.
If you see the pictures, you will see, like, the cut in the face, like, where they had to stitch him. And then you see the pictures in the back of the head, how everything, that was crazy.
They beat him hard, yeah. And he was also bound. Like, what was he going to do? Like, I swear to God, that gets me so fucking mad. Like, how would you write that this person who was helpless was a coward? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I swear.
That's him trying to put peace with himself.
Oh, I swear. Like, well, anyway, he was sentenced to death by lethal injection. He was set to be executed on July 20th of 2012, but just like Stephen Hayes, his death sentence was turned into a life sentence because the death penalty was abolished. Joshua said that he did not intend to kill anyone, and he spoke about the shame, hurt, and disappointment that he had caused. He said, and I quote, "I will never find peace within. My life would be a continuation of hurt for what I caused. This clock is now ticking, and I owe a debt that I cannot repay. He also said that forgiveness was not for him to have, and that he needs to forgive his worst enemy, who is himself.
I don't believe.
I bet he didn't write that. I bet his attorney wrote that.
I do not believe a word that this idiot says.
No.
At
I bet
all.
he didn't write that.
Well,
How are you gonna write?
But this one, he's just disgusting, because he saw her, he liked her, he went there, and he knew exactly what he was gonna do. And when the other one said that he was going to go with the mom to the bank, he already knew exactly what he was going to do as soon as he walked out the door. You know what I mean?
I'm sure he did. He was sick already. He had been assaulted when, sexually molested when he was little. He couldn't control his urges clearly.
I just don't want to think about that, because that touches a little bit, not a feel sorry, but that happened to him. But then it's everything else that happens, I just want to forget that little part and just focus on that he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, but both of these pieces of shit, will be convicted forever. I'm sure there is no possibility of parole. So, at least like we've said in previous episodes, they get to live another day, whether it's in prison or not, while these poor victims will not get to see another day, which is horrible.
Exactly. Well, in 2007, William Petit established the Michaela Rose Petit Scholarship Fund. He also established the Haley's Hope and Michaela's Miracle MS Memorial Fund. That same year, John Carpenter, an employee of the Chase Collegiate School, ran the New York City Marathon, raising $8,554 for the Miles for Michaela scholarship benefit.
That's so nice.
Yeah, that's so amazing
nice.
That people just come together in this horrible moment, but at least, it touches so many hearts and people just come together and do these amazing things. Well, on January 6, 2008, over 130,000 luminaria candles were lit in front of thousands of homes across Cheshire in Cheshire Lights of Hope, a fundraiser for multiple sclerosis and a tribute to the Petit family. It's funded by a local couple, Don and Jennifer Walsh, and this event raised over $100,000 for Haley's Hope and Michaela's Miracle Memorial Funds. That's great.
It is amazing. It's true. Out of horrible events, this make people come together, and work together, and it's good to see, that other people were there supporting, William with his foundations and trying to keep the memories of the three beautiful ladies that lost their life in such a horrible way. And well, this was once again such a horrible tragedy in which three beautiful lives were taken by two disgusting pieces of shit individuals who were so caught up wanting to rob an innocent family without thinking of all the damage that they were doing. And not only three lives were taken, but William Petit's whole life was also taken from him. He didn't get the chance to save his beloved family, and they died in such a horrific manner that this has to be so horrible to live with. And this is something that will live with him for the rest of his life. What began as a simple robbery ended in 3 murders. In August of 2012, William actually remarried to Christine Palouf, and they moved to another town in Connecticut. We are so happy that he was able to turn his life upside down and make something positive out of this tragedy. And from the bottom of our hearts, we hope that someday he can find some closure. And we like to think that one day he will be reunited with Jennifer, Haley, and Michaela in another life.
Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and please stay tuned for our next episode. We may be covering an abduction case. We have one in mind, but it's a secret, so stay tuned.
It's a secret.
Please feel free to give us any suggestions in our website, dropdeadsisters.com.
And also follow us in our social media Our Instagram is Drop Dead Sisters Podcast. Our Twitter is Drop Dead Sisters. And we now have a Facebook page, and you can find us by looking for Drop Dead Sisters, that true crime podcast. Thank you guys again, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.